It's time for baby boy to go to bed.
Bro, 9:10 the other night. It was so great. That was early, but it was really nice. I'm Jansen,
I'm Sean.
I'm Sky.
and this is the weekly pop-up podcast where we talk about all things pop culture. And this week is our first episode back from the holiday break, an extended holiday break. It was nice, wasn't it, guys?
So nice.
Little time
Really
off.
enjoyed it.
Little time off from our night jobs. But tonight, or today, or whenever you're listening, we are going to talk about a couple things that have happened in the new year or that have came out in the new year since we have been off for a little while. One technically premiered, I guess, in the old year of 2020 that we don't talk about anymore. But that would be Wonder Woman. And then the second thing premiered in 2021, WandaVision. By this point, we have seen 3 episodes. By the time this releases, I'm guessing a fourth, maybe a fifth has come out, depending on our release schedule. But we'll be discussing the first 3 episodes of WandaVision. But first, we want to start off with our kind of weekly recap. And I think a good kind of thing to start us off with is we've talked about it a couple of times, but HBO Max, they have been previewing, and now they've released more extended trailers of some of their upcoming movies that are coming out. And they do these nice compilation trailers just to let you know, hey, if you didn't know, theaters and at home in the same day you can watch. And so they actually released one today that shows some extended looks at a couple things. One trailer that they've put out, because the movie comes out at the end of January, is the Little Things, I believe, with Denzel and Rami Malek and Jared Leto, which looks phenomenal, and I'm very excited. It worries me that it's a January release. Why would that be if it's really great? I don't know about that, but can't wait to watch that. But the extended clip together trailer today showed us a few things that one thing in particular that I didn't even know was happening that seems like a big deal is Will Smith is playing Venus and Serena Williams' father in like a dramatized biopic, it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious because if Will Smith is playing the father and it's a biopic about the sisters, like how big is his role? How did they get him? Or is
It's
it a
about
biopic?
him. Like
Okay.
the name of the movie is like some like soliloquy with the father. Like the
Mm-hmm.
name of the movie is. So I'm assuming it's like him driving his kids to be great. But
Yeah.
I didn't even I had no idea that was even happening.
It's called King Richard.
King Richard. Yep.
So
So
that's
that's
interesting.
interesting. And then
Yeah.
we got the first look at one thing I'm excited about, because during quarantine, I watched The Sopranos for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And the Many Saints of Newark, is a prequel movie to the series where James Gandolfini, who passed away in 2013, who played Tony Soprano, his son is actually playing a young Tony Soprano. And so we got the first look at him, really, like, again, only a few seconds, but just exciting stuff coming. But HBO Max, for us that are subscribers, I'm really excited about the lineup. You also have, is it Judas and the Black Messiah? Something along
Mm-hmm.
those lines.
Yeah.
That, from the reviews, is top notch. From what I've heard,
Yeah.
coming out of it, it is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an exciting year. Now, Sean, I know you had a thread of HBO Max that you wanted to talk about because another real trailer got dropped
Yeah.
just a couple days ago, and it's big.
Yeah. That's one way to put it. Obviously it's the trailer for
It's
Kong versus
monstrous.
Godzilla, the Monster Universe movie. I guess the fourth installment if you count both Godzillas and then the Kong Skull Island. Um, it is, I guess the first big trailer of the year. I mean, unless you count like the first HBO Max announcement and then the Netflix one, which were more compilations. But it's like the first big trailer.
Oh, the Netflix one, that was also very good, though.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, does it looks very colorful. Um, it looks very hammy and cheesy and glitzy. I just there were a couple of quotes from the trailer that I just have to bring up. Here's by far my favorite. There's just a moment where you see some kind of clips of Kong and Godzilla fighting, and one of the characters says, "Kong bows to no one."
It's
It's my
true.
favorite. It was my favorite
It
line.
is
And
true.
then Then there was the classic exposition. The myths are real. There was a war, and they're the last ones standing. So, some real
That
epic
doesn't make you
overtures.
hype, bro.
I don't know. I mean, it's probably bad. Could be fine, but
I
you
think
know,
it's supposed to be entertaining. You don't think it'll like you don't think it'll be an
no,
entertaining
I think
view?
it'll be entertaining. Hopefully, I mean, it could be so bad that it's not entertaining.
Sky?
It's
I mean, I think if you like monster movies, this is the movie for you, right? But if you,
I
I mean, I'm not a big fan, so it's not really for me.
I have no idea what is going on because we got monsters holding giant Thor hammers, it looks like, and
yes.
actively like they have a goal. Like they
Hmm.
have a very clear ability to have cognitive power and accomplish a goal with a hammer, which is
Yeah.
insane.
It looked like his version of Stormbreaker. I
It
have to.
did.
I didn't see Kong Skull Island. Was he able to use tools or anything in that movie?
In my recollection, no. I gotta be it's been a while since I've seen it, but in the trailer it made it seem like this one little girl was very key to Kong
Hmm.
and his consciousness. I
Hmm.
do recall him being like a protector of people in Skull Island. I don't recall that little girl. I don't
Well,
recall her being a focal point of that movie and being like, oh, he's protecting her
yeah.
specifically. I
Well,
could be wrong.
I think Skull Island took place like in the 80s though, and this is like modern, so like 30 years has passed, if I'm not mistaken.
That very well may be. And
Because I
Sean, you
think
should
Kong
definitely
Skull Island did
watch
take
Skull
place.
Island, bro. Like
Yeah,
I think Samuel's in it, okay, and I think Danny McBride's in it.
Tom Hiddleston's in it.
Hiddleston's in it. I mean, it's stacked. Like the monster movies have done well with casting because Godzilla has Coach Taylor in it, and it's
Hmm.
got 11 in it. So they've done very well with their casting. I think it also has one of them I want to say has that guy who probably should be a star but never is, and he's in like the Annabelle movies. What's his name? Patrick
Patrick
something.
Wilson.
Patrick Wilson. I think he's in maybe Kong, like at the end, like wrapping up the universe. Like, oh, there are other monsters out there, and anything with a connected universe, I am in. I'm like, they're trying it. Let's see what happens. When you give
Everyone's
me an
trying it.
after credits teaser that's like, here's Captain America's shield, except it's a giant monster. I'm like, okay, other people are out here.
Yeah,
It's funny
but
because like I love a good horror monster film.
I really thought monster movies would be your gig.
No, because I mean the thing with monster movies that I always seem to come in like a common thread for them is that humans end up being the bad versus the monsters, and I have a feeling that that's kind of what we're going to be seeing in this too. I mean, it's going to
Someone
obviously be like
has to be
Mothra or
controlling
something.
one of them.
well,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, there's another quote. It says Godzilla's out there and he's hurting people, and we don't know why. So that clearly
yeah,
somebody is manipulating, or something is manipulating Godzilla, that leaves him getting hit with a hook right to the face from Kong. Just
yeah.
beautiful looking punch. But I think that is enough
I agree.
speculation
I
on
agree.
Kong versus Godzilla. We'll have to see what happens when that movie comes not only out into theaters but into our homes if you have HBO Max in March. I think it is. I think it's March.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, right off the gate, I want to know like what movie from HBO Max are you guys most excited for this year? Like just right off your head.
I have two. The one I have no idea what it's about, but it's the one with Hugh Jackman in it, like Recession or
I didn't even know that was
whatever.
a thing until today
Yeah,
when
I
they
don't
Yeah,
know.
released the
I don't know
trailer.
what it is, but it looks super intriguing. I mean, it's maybe a little too early to tell. Um, uh, and then I guess my other one would be just to see what the Mortal Kombat movie's like. Like,
Why do this to yourself?
well, here's the thing though. I'm stoked that I don't have to spend money to go see it. Like, I
Is
can
that
just
what I
watch
watched? Is that what I watched a few months ago? Was it Mortal
Mortal
Kombat?
Kombat. Yeah,
Okay, that's what I thought.
yeah. This is the remake reboot.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. That seems cool. Like, I don't have to spend money on it. I could just watch it. It could be bad. That'll be fine. So, and then the Matrix also seems super cool. Could be terrible, but it's the Matrix, so could be
Has
cool.
to be terrible. Has to be.
I mean, I don't think it'll be terrible, right? Because I mean, the
Why
bar was
sign
set
back
so
up?
low
Yeah.
with the Matrix 2 and 3. Has to be higher. But
All I recall from 2 and 3 is texting Sean and being like, I just skipped through an 18 minutes dance scene in the bottom of a cave. That's all I remember from 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
so
Jada Pinkett Smith is here, and now we're just
weird,
dancing.
weird part. What about you guys? What are you excited about?
I'm
Um,
excited about *Malignant*. If you're a big horror fan, I mean, it's James Wan's new film, so I'm very excited about that. And *Suicide Squad*. I just want to see what James
Mhm,
Gunn is going to
mhm.
bring to that.
I mean, John Cena looks ridiculous,
Oh yeah, and he has his own series
and he
coming
has his
out.
own series.
Yeah.
For me, it's probably recency bias, but really excited for the Denzel movie. Like, little crime mystery thing. We've got
It
stellar cast.
looks like a classic Denzel
Flip flop,
him versus the world
bro.
movie.
Little flip flop. Did he kill him? Maybe so. He's got some. He's digging some holes. I don't know, but that's exciting. And then I really do want to see the Many Saints of Newark.
Hmm.
Having recently watched it, me and Tim Buckley, who's been on this podcast, listen to the Sopranos podcast every week. And it's two guys who were on there that recap the show. They're watching for the first time in 20 years, and I really have been digging recap podcasts because I also listen to the Office ladies. Because on my way to work, I can just visualize like they're talking through the episode, and I've watched The Office enough just to know what they're talking about, and I watched The
Mm.
Sopranos recently enough to kind of know what they're talking about. So, yeah, that one is what I'm excited for because I believe the original creator of The Sopranos was very heavily involved in this movie, which makes me more excited for it. Because sometimes people can just take source material and kind of muck it up, but he did so well with The Sopranos. I'm sure he's had many opportunities to capitalize, and
Hmm.
I feel like he's waited for the right project. So that makes me excited.
Yeah.
What worries me about the little things is that it looks like, and I could be completely wrong, but it looks like the director is really trying to emulate Fincher. And because when I look at that trailer, I'm like, oh, that's David Fincher, but it's not David Fincher. So it worries me that this person could be trying to copy, but we'll see. I don't know.
We only have to wait like
A few
buddy.
hours, right? Isn't it?
I think it's the 28th. I
Yeah.
think so. That's great.
All
I have
right.
something to watch this weekend.
So I
So
guess let's move it forward here. I think we should probably do. I don't know. What do you guys want to do? Wonder Woman first, just because
yeah,
that's fine
I
night.
think
And
we
we can,
do Wonder Woman, and we don't have to spend forever on it since now it's been a little.
yeah,
We took a longer
and
break than we had thought, but
yeah, and just just before anybody gets mad, we will be talking, at length, spoilers, all that.
yep.
We're not going to be holding back. Um, and I mean, I don't think any of us really want to recap the movie, uh,
No, I don't think a recap is necessary.
but just briefly, it's the sequel to the first movie set in 1984. There's a mysterious stone that grants wishes. Pedro Pascal, aka the Mandalorian, and takes the stone and engulfs it, becomes the stone.
Imbues
Starts,
himself with the power.
yeah, starts granting wishes. Kristen Wiig becomes a half cheetah, half human person.
Good effects, actually.
and
Personally, I thought she looked okay.
and Chris, not Pratt,
You can
Chris
do it. You can do it.
Pine, Chris
That's
Pine's
right.
character from the first movie is resurrected as part of a wish and also then killed. There's a just mind-boggling flying through fireworks scene that
I
makes
liked
literally
it.
zero
I
sense.
liked it.
But there's just I guess let's starting with Jansen. Did you like the movie? You don't have to rate it. What are the things you like the most? Maybe your biggest problems.
I liked it all right. It was fine. I think I gave it a 6, maybe a 5 out of 10. First of all, the first one was obviously like the movie that said DC can do this. Like they can do it. Look what they've done. This was a good movie. This was and Wonder Woman. The first one was actually pretty good. This one, I've texted you guys. I think right after I watched it. Way too long. 2.5 hours. What are we doing? Could have been an hour 45. Probably could have been an hour and a half. And the problem was I felt it. Like honestly, an hour and a half in, I was like, we might have paused, and I said, "We still have an hour left." what is happening? So that was my biggest problem. My other problem is something that DC likes to do, and I've never seen it work. And tell me if there's an example in Marvel where it does work, because I feel like it's a real problem that keeps being introduced. I don't know why we're doing it because it hasn't worked. The multiple villains, the multiple big bads in one movie is just too convoluted for me. Again, for a movie, that's why it's 2.5 hours. We have Pedro, who's over here doing his thing. We have Cheetah, who, yes, is part of the story, but let's just do one or the other, and let's save the other for another movie, or let's eliminate one. There's another. There have to be other ways that Cheetah can get her powers if that's what we're going with. I thought Kristen Wiig was phenomenal. I thought she did great. I thought, and this is something they have to be going for, but I thought, thanks, Guy. I thought that some of the special effects were weird. The mall scene, and again, I believe it's something they're going for as an homage to the originals, from the TV show back in the day.
Mhm.
But the way that, like, she's just flying through the air in just such a weird way, and again, it's a choice. I understand that, but the biggest thing for me was the length and the fact that also rules don't matter in this world, because how are we getting wishes? At the end, wishes are doing some weird things. You're hooking up to a satellite and you say you can hear their wishes and they can hear you. If we're going to have rules, let's stick to the rules. So that's my big thing. Sky mentioned that Infinity War had many villains. Okay, that's a difference. One, they're all kind of on the same team. Like, they're all there for one reason. And two, that's after 10 years of buildup. You've prepped me for this time of, hey, there might be a couple more things. There's also 50 heroes in that movie. So it's just a little bit different. Whereas this is one hero, two bads, and 2.5 hours that just kind of slogged along for me.
What about you, Sky? How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, so when I first finished it, I actually really liked it when I first finished it. And then I processed it, right? Because it was fun for me, and I appreciated how human it was. It really played on humanity, and I thought that that was really nice. Because Wonder Woman is like Superman, right? Like, you can't really give them too many obstacles because they're so powerful. So bringing out the humanity, I think, worked. What I don't think worked was like what Jansen was saying, even though, I think that there are examples where it does work, like Batman Begins, um, that there was just too much going on. They had too many storylines for one movie. And I think if they would have chopped off maybe 30 minutes, that would have gotten rid of one of the storylines. Um, and I think that that would have made a cleaner movie. But I mean, you had the Chris Pine storyline, you had the Pedro Pascal storyline, you had the Cheetah storyline, and I'm sure that there's another one that I missed right now. But there was just too much going on. I don't understand, because Kristen Wiig's character, she just wanted to be like an alpha. She wanted to be Diana, but she got transformed
Who
into a
wouldn't,
cheetah.
Who
Like, I don't
doesn't want
understand. I
that?
don't understand why she got transformed into a cheetah. Um, but through all its faults, I think that there are quite a few that just doesn't make any sense. But at the end of the day, it is a comic book movie. I had fun with it. I appreciated Pedro Pascal's performance, Kristen Wiig's performance, and of course Gal Gadot. I think that she was great. Um, I don't think that this is a big step back. I don't think it's a step forward.
Yeah.
But I think that people are still going to be excited for Wonder Woman 3, when it comes out. I think that they're probably a little disappointed with Wonder Woman 2, but you know, I don't think that it's the end of Wonder
No.
Woman that I've seen people say, and I think all it's going to take is another trailer, to really get people hyped. But I
No,
don't really know where they're going either, though.
true. I did like the performances. I thought everyone did their role very well, and I agree with you 100%. my favorite part of the movie was that humanity part of Diana having to resurrect her love and then, choose between her love and the world. Like I thought that was really well done. I liked the scene where she said goodbye to him. I thought all that was great. I wish we would have focused more on that.
Yeah.
Hmm. So here was my experience watching it. I started it one morning, and I watched probably about, I mean, what felt like 2 hours, but probably about like an hour and 15 minutes. And I had to stop for work or whatever reason. And the biggest tell to me that I wasn't like super enjoying it was like I didn't care whether or not I went back. And um, so that was probably like the biggest tell for me that I didn't really like love it. I thought there were some really cool scenes, some really fun moments, some well acted stuff. But I guess like I had some of the problems I had were the only reason seemingly it was set in 1984 is to kind of shoehorn in this like nuclear war at the very end of the movie that they don't talk about at all throughout the entire film. Um, and then kind of agree with the bad guys things. I think the reason like Batman Begins works is because we don't know about that second bad until the end, and it's like a nice refreshing twist. So I guess they kind of try to do that with Kristen Wiig's character, but you could kind of tell that she was, the gonna be a bad guy after like, halfway through the movie. Like she started to get that urge for power. The same thing that was going on with Pedro Pascal's character. Um,
Not
but
to mention everything Pedro Pascal did was inherently like detail oriented and very confusing in itself.
hmm
Like it's not like he's
hmm
just doing one thing. He's like, I'm gonna go here and get oil from this guy and build a giant like the tasks that he did with his power were also just adding confusion.
hmm hmm And I mean, he was just slowly amassing power from different principalities and nations and peoples. Uh, it was so long. It was so long. I don't know. I mean, part of me thinks like, did we need Chris Pine's character? Couldn't she have just moved on romantically to somebody else? But it did give that real human element. So like, that's kind of like I get the choice, and I probably would have made that choice myself. Um, and then just my other thing is I don't know why DC also does this, is that they can't seem to decide. And I mean, Wonder Woman is essentially like their Thor-esque character, right? Like a goddess, somebody from like a different realm almost. But they seem to be like oscillating between this, like, oh, this is real world stuff, and there's this magic machine, and like
Mysticism.
they couldn't really decide what. And then not only was there a magic machine, but there was a magic satellite technology, a deus ex machina that just came in two,
Yeah.
2 hours into the film. um and so and then I didn't really get Pedro Pascal's motivation throughout the film. I mean,
It's
it was
not to
just
be a
kind of
loser
like,
to his
I want to
kid.
be powerful and worth something, so that was kind of generic. It was fine. Is it a huge step backwards? No. It's really like an Iron Man 2-esque like placeholder film.
We're
Like,
here. We're
we're
alive.
here.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Wonder Woman. There's probably stuff on the horizon, but I am starting to get concerned. Like Gal Gadot can't be Wonder Woman forever,
Oh, but I
right?
wish he could.
She's good, but they don't have a Batman because it's
Yeah.
not Ben Affleck. It's not Robert Pattinson. They don't have a Superman because it sounds like Henry Cavill's out. I guess they have a Flash and a Cyborg
They have two flashes.
and an
I don't think they
Aquaman.
have a
Might
cyborg
have a.
anymore,
I don't
right?
think they do
Oh,
either.
right. They might not
Yeah.
have. Well, I don't know. If Josh Whedon's not there, he may be up
Yeah.
to do it. But
But let's also we have a 2.5 hour movie where the first 25 minutes is just fan service because people like that world and
mhm,
serves no maybe it's not 25 minutes but it's 15 minutes they're in where Diana's from. Cool scene. I liked
mhm,
it. But if
mhm,
we're talking about things we can cut,
Yeah.
that's one of them.
mhm. Well, and it does the classic like, here's the lesson she learned as a girl, and the lesson she teaches the villain at the end, sort of thing. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It too long, not focused enough, I guess. They just a lot of stuff. They put a lot of stuff in there. Maybe
Yeah.
having another editor, another somebody put their eyes on it. maybe in a different world where COVID doesn't exist, they could do some reshoots and they could rework some stuff. Who knows? But overall, fine. I mean, it was fine. I'm glad I finished it after taking a break. I am glad I finished it.
I
And I
think
don't think it's going to destroy the DC universe because there's enough things that they're doing that's destroying it themselves with this lack of a plan. But like you guys said, I have no idea where any of this is going or if we're just going to get standalone, which is fine. I mean, nothing and not everything has to have a universe and interconnecting movies and a superhero team up. It can be standalone. That's fine. But it just seems weird after getting her in Batman versus Superman and the Justice League and then now nothing. So I don't know.
I just
Green
really
Lantern,
hope Kristen Wiig comes back for the third.
she's done, man.
You think so? She's not dead.
No, she's
No,
not dead, but there's
but
no
she's
reason to bring her
powerless.
back.
Oh man, I hope
She,
she
she
comes
doesn't
back.
have her powers, right? She gave
Her
them up.
story's dead, bro.
Listen,
I mean, I guess.
that is Wonder Woman's like arch rival though, so that gives me hope.
I know, but it's the '80s, and everything in the other movies take place in modern day-ish. I guess. I guess there's no real telling. It could be in the '90s. But see, this is the problem. This is the
We don't have
problem
a
with
plan.
DC.
We don't have
They have
time.
no plan.
And
Yeah.
your comment, and this can be the last thing, and we can move on about the mysticism, is where I think DC just shoves it into a movie. They just shove it in a movie here, sometimes a movie there. Marvel kind of like eased you in, like they gave you Iron Man, which is completely set in reality. There is a guy who has a lot of money and is probably too smart, but set in reality. We have a couple movies, and then we have Thor, which is like, okay, there's some gods in here. There's some stuff going on. Like everything's kind of slowly introduced. Like we're about to talk WandaVision. Yeah, it's really weird. She has like super special powers that she can, flick and boom, and she is actually a witch. But they've taken the time to kind of piece that together and ease you into, hey, we have regular stuff. Hey, we have, you know, uh, extraterrestrial stuff. Hey, we have magical stuff. Whereas DC just kind of picks and chooses like where there's magic and stuff, which I think is one of their issues.
And I think that was what was so good about the first Wonder Woman is we started in her world, the world of like gods and magic, and then we was like a fish out of water in the regular world, and kind of brought some of that god stuff with her, which was a great start. And then for this one to kind of be the inverse of that, of her being in the real world, and then to just drop this magic shiny gem in the middle of it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it could have been done better, maybe not. But it was fine. This is C+ movie. C's get degrees.
I think I liked it too because I mean it really kind of reminded me. I mean my grade for it has dropped after assessing it, but I liked it because it did remind me of like Tim Burton classic Batman films. I mean it definitely had a little bit of that feel, that cheesiness vibe to it, which I really appreciated.
All right. Well, I guess the next thing to talk about is WandaVision. It's on Disney Plus. It's had 3 episodes so far. It's gonna have a total of 9 episodes. And if you haven't noticed yet, and you're watching along with us, there are each episode is dedicated to like a decade of television. So we started with the 50s, then we hit the 60s. That last episode was on the 70s, and we can only assume that the 80s is up next. What has been your guys' thoughts just so far about the series? We can go episode by episode. We can go just overall in general. But what do you think, Sky?
I mean, we could do
just do overall, don't you?
overall.
Yeah,
I
just
think
do
it's
overall,
we
Sky.
can talk
How do you
about
feel
the
about the
episodes.
movie? How do you feel about the series so far overall?
I really love it. I think it's honestly the best thing Marvel's done in a while. Because I mean, we talked about it with Wonder Woman. I mean, there's like this level of humanity that we're getting, and I mean, it is a film and television lover's dream for a show too. I mean, it's also it's paying homage to all these great shows that came out that really laid down the foundation for modern television, and it also kind of blends like Black Mirror, which I have a very big soft spot for Black Mirror. So I mean, the performances are amazing. Ashley Olsen, she's killing it. Like
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth Olsen. I'm sorry. She's killing it. There's some great scenes, where she's kind of like breaking reality a little bit, and like when you see that switch, it's really wonderful. I really love it. I understand why people may not like it, because I mean, if they were expecting like these flashy action sequences and stuff like that, which I don't know why they would be expecting that based on the trailers that were, promoted and everything, but I've seen that criticism. Um, so I don't know. I think if you don't like it, that's totally cool and understandable. But if you do, I think we're gonna be in for a great ride going forward.
Yeah, that was my, I guess, worry, especially after the first two episodes, is someone could come in here, just a casual Marvel fan, maybe they didn't trek out to see, like Ant-Man 2 or some of the other like smaller Marvel movies or watch any of the television shows. They've just kind of been keeping up generally with the universe. And they heard about the show and they thought, oh, just more Marvel content. It's not exactly like what you would expect, which partly is what makes it so good, right? So interesting because it's so far from anything they've attempted. And but I did worry like maybe it wouldn't get received as well just generally because it's not the big action sequences. It's like if it hadn't been for the last 30 seconds of the first episode, you would think that it's not Marvel really at all, that it's just this really weird show about a witch and a robot who are living in suburbia. So that being said, I love it. Of course, I don't have too much experience with 50s and 60s television because it was 40 years before I was born, but I do have a lot of experience with Nick at Night, which is like what this show essentially is. It's like
Mm.
watching a Nick at Night marathon where you get the I Love Lucy and then you get Full House and then you get all these other shows that are from previous decades just kind of cycled in. It's great. I think anything where I can get more drunk Paul Bettany, I'll take up because it's fantastic. I think he's been just a revelation. I love Catherine Hahn. She's been great in the small portion she's been in. I can't wait to see her more. And I'm just
You
like
will. You
really,
will.
really excited for the 90s episode and the 2000s episodes because that'll feel like really nostalgic to me because those are when I would watch TV. Those are the decades in which some of my favorite shows are from. I can't imagine what sort of tropes they're going to pull from. I don't know if I want it to be more of like a Friends style episode or like a Seinfeld style episode for the 90s and
I'm
all
definitely
that.
hoping for one of those after school special. Like I want one of them
Mhm.
to sit someone down and be like, "Now, Billy,
Yeah.
why was that wrong?" Like I need
Mhm.
it like that. The music comes in and
But another thing I just really appreciate, and Sky mentioned this, is when there are those moments, usually towards the end of episodes, where essentially Elizabeth Olsen is breaking character. It's like a deeply moving moment. It's like a very affecting part because I just get so caught up in the theme of the episode that I almost forget, like, oh, there's something else going on. So when she like turns her head and does stuff at the end of episode 3 or the whole stop choking thing at the end of episode 1, just really kind of edge of your seat, sort of like, oh my god, what's going to happen and is everything going to come crumbling down. So I love it.
I mean, I've had to rewind a couple of times because especially in the third episode, I believe, it just hits a cut and rewinds about 10 seconds. And I
Mhm.
was like, wait,
Mhm.
I thought I rewound. So I
Yeah.
rewound even more. I was like, oh no, okay, she did that. Really enjoying it because it is so different. I think that if you are a casual Marvel fan, the best way to watch it will be to like binge it
Hmm.
or binge half of it. Wait till the fifth episode comes out because we are getting more and more back into the Marvel universe. We're breaking that barrier a little bit more,
Quite
but it is
literally.
slow paced. But you also have to remember these episodes are like 20 minutes. So if you watched 3 of them, you can watch 3 in an hour. If you go back and binge them, essentially. But I just really like that it's different. We spoke on here, I believe, about how After Endgame, it's like, well, I don't know if I'll be able to get back into it. I just really love this arc, uh, and we all admitted. But as soon as a trailer comes out, I'm sure I'll be back in, and I was. And then it's delivering in such a high manner that it just makes me very excited that they're willing to break the box. And
Mhm.
I think that the pandemic and them having to delay uh, Falcon and the Winter Soldier has really worked in their favor, because I am pretty sure, my guess is Falcon and Soldier will be very Marvel-ish. It'll be very superhero, straight action, adventure type deal, buddy comedy, buddy cop type thing, which will be very fun and very good. But them debuting phase phase four, when phase four,
Yes.
Mhm.
them debuting phase four with something so different than what they've done up to this point, which has caused them so much success, shows they're willing to take a risk, shows that they are willing to try new things, and gets me very excited for Doctor Strange in the multiverse,
Hmm.
because that movie needs to be out there. That movie needs to be different. That movie needs to be trying new things than what Marvel has done. And this gives me hope that they can.
Yeah. I
Now I
think.
think we should discuss. Well, we can
Uh,
finish this and go
uh,
ahead, Sean. But I was
oh
going to
yeah.
say
Go ahead.
next we should discuss what the heck's going on.
Right. So I just want to say this one last thing. It's essentially just one of the all-time heat checks of any industry of all time
It's,
because
it's like, can we mess up? Let's just see. Let's just
yeah,
try it
it's
and let's see if we
exactly
can
what I
mess
was
up.
thinking. Like I can't ever think of another IP or another property that has gone so rogue from their original. Like if you were to put somebody in 10 years and say, watch this, it's Iron Man. Now watch this, it's WandaVision. Like no one will understand
How these two connect.
what has happened, like
Hmm.
where how they got from point A to point B, because they're so different tonally and they're so different just in what they're trying to achieve. And it really is. They just said, is there any way we could possibly screw this up? Is there anything that we can do that'd be so weird and so different? Like, even just if we strip away the Marvel stuff and we really do just make it about a witch and a robot living together, the style of this show to go and be a love letter for all these different decades of television as Marvel's first television show or as some company's first television show. I, I don't know how people would react to it. I don't
I
know
think
what.
Feige got into an argument with Elizabeth Olsen one day and said, "You know what? I'm tired of you in this franchise." And he said, "I'm going to sabotage you." And he said, "We're going to make WandaVision and it's going to ruin you because nobody's going to like it." And that's how they came up with this heat check. And now everyone's
Crazy.
saying, "I love Elizabeth Olsen." And as you said, I love Paul Bettany because he yelled one time when he was drunk and he sounded just like Geoffrey Chaucer when he played Geoffrey Chaucer in A Knight's Tale, which is where I
Hmm.
was introduced to him. And I believe I was introduced to Heath Ledger, and I was introduced to the Tudyk,
Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk,
Yeah,
all in that movie.
it's a great movie.
One that is definitely a cable callback, by the
Yeah,
way,
it's
because
definitely a
it was
cable
on all
callback.
the
That was on
time.
TBS pretty much every day
All
in
the
the summer of
time. And
2006.
he yelled one time, and I said, "That's him." That he is yelling just like he did in that movie.
Um,
So
but
I enjoy that part.
I think you're right, Jensen. I think we should dedicate the next couple of minutes to just kind of talking about what we think is going on, what we sort of expect, and like maybe when we expect that reality slash wall to officially break down because it is coming. Like there is going to be a point in this series where it leaves the uniqueness behind and jumps back into the Marvel universe. It's going to be towards the end, of course, but they have to use that to kick off the rest of what they're doing and to really, I guess, directly lead into Doctor Strange in the multiverse of madness, if that's even the title anymore.
And
Um,
just so folks are aware, we are a media podcast, but obviously we don't quite have the clout to get any screeners or anything
no,
from Marvel. So we have not seen anything past episode 3. I've read some stuff online that has theories. I've listened to some other people who are smarter than me who take time to really look at the show and break it down. So I've got some educated guesses, but just so everyone's aware, we have no clue what's going to happen.
Right. But we do know the basics, right? Wanda is at least in partial control of the world around her. She not only is retaining all of her own powers, as is Vision, but except for Fate, well, I guess Vision has been able to go through stuff. But
He's never
so
had
she
super
not,
speed, though.
huh?
He's never had super speed, though.
Yeah, but he is. I would credit that to him being like a super robot, right? Like I'm sure he could just run faster than a human because he's a robot and they can
It's
do
just
things
there are
better.
some theories about his speed, but continue.
It's her brother.
Right.
The
Oh, that's a
theory,
good point.
well, the theory with his speed is apparently in the comics he is made of someone called Wonder Man and another person, and Wonder Man had super speed. So they're
Hmm.
saying something along those lines.
Something along
But
those
yes, her
lines.
brother is a speedster as well.
Right. But so she's in at least some control of the world around her. And there seem to be other people in the neighborhood, Vision included, that are slowly beginning to realize that the world around them isn't exactly what it seems. And we do know from at least the end of episode 1 and the end of episode 3 that there is a shield-esque group monitoring the situation and operating with outside of the parameters of this world that Wanda is in semi-control in. But yeah, just some really cool moments at the end of episode 3 with I think what is it? Herb is the neighbor who
Herb,
saw
man,
through
I
the wall.
love Herb.
Herb and Agnes, right,
Agnes,
is the neighbor. Agnes having that weird conversation about what's her face. She's Monica Rochambeau, but I don't remember what
Geraldine.
Geraldine, yeah. Geraldine and like the whisper conversation that was super spooky. So there's definitely some stuff going on. Do you guys have any theories, any thoughts?
I've got stuff. I want Sky to go, but I do want it on record from the trailer. I guessed in some way Wanda was in an alternate reality because I feel like people are forgetting or just not mentioning Vision is dead.
Yeah.
Like that man is not here.
Mhm.
So obviously something's going on.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I've had a couple people ask me, "Oh, he didn't come back at the end of it." No, he did not come back
Mhm.
because Thanos crushed his skull to get the gem and then snapped the gem away. Just so we're all clear, Vision is dead, yet he's in this show. So something's
Yeah.
going on. Sky, go ahead, and then I'll go.
Yeah. So I mean, the alternate reality. Yeah, I agree. But I don't think it's like. I mean, I guess it's like a program, right? Like it's Sword or somebody. I guess Sword might be infiltrating whatever this program is that she's working with. Um, but it seems like she may have made a deal, right, with whoever is controlling this world, this VI world for her. Um, and you have actors in there in that world. You have Herb and you have Agnes. Those are the two people that we know are actors right now, who are pretending like everything's fine on Truman Show like. And then you have Vision's super speed, which I'm attributing to Wanda and her brother. What is it? Peter?
Pietro.
Pietro?
True.
Yeah. Him being dead. It's pretty much like all the trauma that she's experienced over the past, I guess, 5 years.
Rough
And she
life.
is, putting them into storylines and characters. I don't know if I actually agree that Vision is dead. I think that he is an AI at the end of the day. He's an
Yes.
AI. Now, whether or not they were able to salvage some of that, I don't know. Um, I guess he could go back to being like the Jarvis character,
Mhm.
but I don't know if he could go back to being Vision.
Right.
Um,
Well,
so I don't know if he's dead per se, but who knows? I think that regardless, this show is going to rip our hearts out regarding that whole storyline,
mhm.
no matter what. Especially with her having the kids, the twins, um, And let's see, there was something else that I wanted to talk about too. But go ahead. I saw you were going to say something, Sean. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so I think that what this show has us asking, a question that the show has us asking that maybe we weren't asking at the end of Endgame or at the end of Far From Home, which is technically the last movie of three, is one, how far did Shuri get with separating Vision from the stone
Right.
before she was interrupted? And two, after Infinity War, we know 5 years passed before Endgame. So in that 5 years, what happened to the? Because Vision's corpse didn't disappear; it's still
Right.
there when she disappears. So what happens to the physical vibranium that they had on the battlefield that was lifeless at the end of Infinity War? We don't know, and I never even thought about asking that question until this
Right.
show. So there's definitely could be something at play at that.
Yeah.
As for the actors thing, I don't know how many of them are
Aware.
willing participants
Mhm.
versus also kind of being trapped in whatever is going on via mind control. Or I guess for me, this has always been uh, that she's having Wanda's having like a severe mental breakdown, and it's her powers are being used in a way that's helping foster this environment, because it does seem, just based off the end of episode 3, that there is some sort of perimeter that people can't easily get into
Right.
on the outside. But if you're just looking, it looks like the town in a more modern way, but there's some sort of interference. So I don't know. It definitely seems like she's getting help, or she's getting. I don't think even she's powerful enough to do something like this
Yeah.
encapsulating. So she is getting help or being taken advantage of in some way.
Yeah.
But I do think that some people are there against their will, and others may be more willing participants.
Yeah. I agree. I also wanted to add on to the whole Vision part about him not being dead is you know, if this was all through Wanda's perspective, we would only be focusing on Wanda.
Heard
But
that.
we're
I've heard
seeing
that couple people say that.
we're seeing Vision go off and do his own thing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
how would we see that? That doesn't make any sense if it's coming from Wanda's perception.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, they have to both be linked up to this virtual world, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my argument.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jansen.
All right, can I get in? Can I deep dive here
Doors
on
open.
things that I've read and heard?
Yeah.
Again, there's no basis on any of this.
And spoilers.
Eh,
This should have been said probably 15, 20 minutes ago.
Spoilers to the show up to this point, but like the things I'm going to say could be absolutely wrong. These are
Mhm.
just things that I've heard that make sense
Yeah. If you
or
don't
read
want
that
to
make
hear it,
sense.
you
If you
stop
don't want to hear it,
listening.
that's fine. Yeah, it's fine. You can stop. Agreed. Wanda's going through it. So I believe she is powerful enough to construct her own reality personally. My question is, this organization, Sword, by the way, is what I believe it's
It
called
is.
based on
It is
comic
Sword.
references. We're going to talk about some stuff from the comics as well. Okay. So if you don't want those spoilers either, which again, Marvel a lot of times just takes little pieces here and there from comics and then does their own thing. Granted, these are just things that I've read. I have not read the comic source material itself, but just so you're aware. Sword, I don't know if they are controlling it to a large extent. I personally think that they're trying to monitor the situation so that Wanda doesn't like blow up the entire world, because I
Mhm.
think she's so powerful. She's going through this break. They're trying to get some information about what's going on without letting her know that they know, and also without setting her off,
Mhm.
because I think that that is what they're fearful of. But they also could be a bad organization um, who are trying to exploit and get information for a different reason that we don't know yet. Because again, in the first episode, that couple was asking a whole lot of questions. Where are you from? What are you doing? As if they're just trying to extract information. I personally am under the belief that most of the people in there are like sword agents. And I think once you enter, though, I'm not sure how much you remember about why you're there, which is why
Mhm.
Geraldine, who has been confirmed as what was her name?
Monica Rochambeau,
Yeah.
the daughter of Captain Marvel's
I
best friend.
think she was sent in to help fix this problem, whatever the problem is. And once you get in, you kind of the magic puts you under its spell, which is why she's saying, I don't know. Like she asked a lot of questions when she got there about herself that she didn't know. She said, I can't remember anything, I think, in the first time you see her. I think that when you enter this reality, Wanda's magic reinterprets things to make it make sense. That toy helicopter she found, I think that was really a helicopter that came into her world that set Geraldine and maybe some other people down. Because in the second episode, you get a lot of new characters. I think it went and set them down, but in Wanda's mind, it had to be reinterpreted as a toy airplane. I think that's how that works. Just like the guy coming up from the sewer at the end of the first episode, he's a beekeeper. Maybe he's really a guy in a hazmat suit.
Mm-hmm.
These things are being reinterpreted by her mind. They say that Agnes is a person from the comics as well. Agatha Harkness, who
Mm-hmm.
I guess in real life was someone in the Salem witch trials
Yeah.
back in the day.
A witch,
And you see in the third episode, she has pilgrim shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
I guess she's
And
wearing a
that weird
brooch.
witchy pendant.
Yeah, she has a pendant. So they're saying that's definitely her. The confusing thing is in the comics, sometimes she's good, sometimes she's bad. So I don't know if she's there to help Wanda or to hurt Wanda. Again, the motivation is what's keeping me. Why are we doing this? What's happening? That's
Right.
the biggest mystery to me, because in my head, I have some of it figured out thanks to some help from, again, people smarter than me. But that's kind of what I think's going on. Two things that they think that people think is happening is, one, this will eventually open up the door for mutants, because in the source material, Wanda and her brother are the children of Magneto, I believe. They're the twins
Yeah.
of Magneto.
Yeah, that's kind of a confusing point because they've been the children of Magneto and then were retconned into not being actually
Yes.
Magneto's children. He just kind of raised them, and so, but they are both technically mutants.
And in the Marvel universe, they're not mutants because mutants don't exist because of copyright and ownership of things. So that's strange. But now that Disney owns, hello, I see you, doggy. Sky has a dog for those listening on a podcast. I think this is obviously the perfect gateway into eventually getting mutants now that Disney owns them and will eventually work them in. I don't think there will be mutants in this show because Feige's pretty much, I think, come out and said there won't be. No, he could definitely be lying, but it seems like a good opportunity to start. But many people think that Mephisto from Ghost Rider will be the big bad in this
Yeah.
season, because apparently a lot of times he's with Scarlet Witch and always against her. And also, from what they say, if you look during the show, and I'm definitely going to pay attention this week, all the sixes from everywhere are removed. Like the sixes on the clocks are removed, like 666. And on the Iron Man toaster, it had 666 on it, like in a weird way. So, and in the comics, Mephisto is pretty much the devil. So they think that that is kind of an underlying tone that Mephisto is here. Some people think it's Ralph, who we haven't seen yet,
Right.
but it's
Right.
Agatha's
Agatha's so-called husband.
which
Yeah.
they do such a great job of keeping with, like you said, those homages to television, and that's such a classic trope or thing that sitcoms did, like old Ralph, and it's such a great name for a sitcom guy as well. But some people think that Mephisto has already shown up, because apparently in the comics he a lot of times is an animal. So he was the lobster in the first episode, and he was Senior Scratchy in the second episode. And apparently, which I had never heard this, but apparently it's very common, Mr. Scratch or Senior Scratch or something like that. Old Scratch is a name for the devil. I don't know.
Old Scratch.
Okay, yeah. So that's a name for the devil. So people are like, that's him. So I don't know. Again, these are things I'm not sure, but it has me very excited because I like a bigger picture. And personally, though, before I heard any of that, I just think Wanda's gonna like lose it at the end of the season and break open the multiverse essentially, and then we're gonna go to Doctor Strange. That's been my theory. I don't know.
Yeah, and Mephisto also. I mean, he's literally the devil in the Marvel universe, and he's also a classic bad guy for Doctor Strange. So If he is in this show, I don't expect him to be defeated, or maybe he's more the guy pulling the strings in sort of a shadowy big bad kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if you were going to get to this, but also in the comic books, uh, Wanda does do a similar thing and create her own children, by making a deal with Mephisto. But what she doesn't know is that the church children are actually like pieces of
Pieces of
Mephisto, and it's some part of a plot of his to like regain strength and take over the multiverse sort of situation. But I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know
Mephisto
if they have
probably
time to get into all of that. Like
no.
I don't know how much they can get into. They got 20
There's
minute
30-minute
episodes,
episodes. Yeah,
and
20 minutes.
there's only a few of them left, and half of the episodes dedicated to a sitcom.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
Do
thing,
you
right?
think?
Like, how many episodes are going to be homages, right? Because I feel like we're probably going to end in the 90s with this. So I think
I
two
think there's a
more.
2000s episode
Yeah,
You
because I
think
think
so?
somebody has said there's like a
an
Modern
office.
Family. I thought it
Yeah,
was Modern
office
Family,
style
but yeah.
one. So
Um,
80s, 90s, 2000s is 3 more episodes. That would get them at 6, and then it would give them 3 episodes to figure out how to end the show.
Yeah.
And I guess it should also. Do we know that each one is going to be 20 minutes? Have they
no,
said that, or could there be? I mean, there's no rules here, right? They're literally making their own rules as they go. So the last 3 could be hour-long episodes. We have no idea.
Yeah.
well, and I mean that they're making their own rules so much that I think they went to Disney just to warn them, hey, some of these are going to be like 4x3, and some of these are going to be, old box square television. So yeah, they're doing their own thing.
So we also probably should talk about like how come we're getting these homage episodes, right? And I guess the only thing that I could come up with is that she's been locked away and she's probably been forced to watch television series, right? So she's watching I Love Lucy and Mary Tyler Moore Show and The Brady Bunch, and I guess maybe Three's Company.
My guess was more, again, I'm because my thought is this is a comfort for her. This is a better reality for her. She's lost everything, so she's envisioning a reality that is like her best case scenario with Vision still there. And my guess is as a child in Sokovia, she watched all these shows on Nick at Night or whatever, all these reruns, and so that's just how her brain is incorporating it. That's my guess.
And even if she didn't when she was a child, I mean, we pretty much between age, she's just been such a minor character in the movie universe that we don't really know after Age of Ultron what's been going on with her. I mean, we saw her in Civil War, and then after
Her and
Civil War,
Vision have been dating, man. They've been
after Civil
keeping it
War, her
going.
and Vision started dating. So like, who knows what she could have just been watching some of this stuff like in her regular life, both at the Avengers facility and on the run with Cap and the other superheroes. We haven't seen her much at all, so I
They
don't know where
had
her.
to sideline her and Vision. They're so powerful. Like
Yeah.
they're both so powerful. If they were involved in these things in major ways, like they would just win.
Mhm.
And they're not the focus.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I
But it
know.
sounds like we're all three excited for the rest of the
Yeah,
season.
I was about to say. I can't wait. I can't wait for the next 3 episodes, really. And then after that, how they're gonna wrap everything back up and kind of kickstart the rest of Phase 4. But I kind of agree with what you said, Jensen. I'm sure the intention of starting with Falcon and Winter Shoulder was kind of at the time the right thing, because it would have been a gentle transition into from the movies. Like, oh, we can make the movies on a smaller scale in a TV show version, but now we're going to do something different, because it would have gone Falcon, Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki.
Well, it also would have been Black Widow first, like Black Widow as a
Right, Black
movie,
Widow, the
and
movie.
then yeah.
So
So definitely excited because I don't know where it's going, and that's nice to kind of just be up in the air, and then to know that we have such good things on the horizon, or good looking things like my boy Owen Wilson in Loki.
can't wait. That's the one I'm most excited about. Can't
I'm
wait for
very
Loki.
excited. So I think again the future is bright.
Yeah, it's just nice to have new stuff that I don't have any idea where it's going or what is involved or how it ends. So that's always nice.
I agree. Sky, anything else?
No, I'm excited. I think, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for Loki. I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier, like you guys said, it's going to be action spectacle. You know, it's going to be great. Don't get me wrong, but I'm more excited about these. I guess talkers
More
is
stylistic.
yeah. That's
And who
that's
knows?
the kind of stuff.
Maybe we're short selling Falcon and Winter. We have no idea what that show's about. And if this show has proven anything, it's that Marvel is ready to take some pretty big risks and some pretty big jumps
Well,
going forward.
that's the thing too. I mean, like, you know, their action spectacles have always had this like heart to them, right? So I'm expecting that with Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I do like the break that we're getting from, because superhero fatigue is a real thing for me.
Mhm.
So I'm loving what's happening right now.
I get so hype like every Friday though. I'm like, I can't. I get personally. I'm much more excited each week for this than I was Mando, and I enjoyed
Yeah.
Mando, but
Mhm. I agree.
I'm always waiting until Friday because I
Yeah,
know it's only like 20 minutes. I'm like, no.
I know. Well, so now that my youngest son is waking up at pretty much 7 o'clock every morning, like on Fridays, I'm not even that mad because I'm like, oh, I don't have to stay up late and wait till 2 a.m. to watch it. I'll just wake up at 7 and watch it. So it's nice. It's a good way to start your day, a little WandaVision. And I almost always watch the episodes like sort of twice. Like I
Nice.
watch it one time and then I just kind of go back and watch a couple of parts again because it's so good and
All right.
funny. Like it's funnier than I thought it would actually be.
The actual sitcom parts are
Mhm.
actually funny. Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Perfect. All right. Well, that I believe wraps us up for this week. We appreciate you coming by. Of course, please like and subscribe. You can rate us as well. That'd be very helpful. This will be on YouTube very soon as well. We'd love you to subscribe there. We have a Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we do update those pretty regularly. So check us out at Weekly Pop Up. And of course, you can email us at weeklypopuppodcast@gmail.com. We appreciate you coming, and we will see you again next week.